They don't tell you that becoming your highest self will stir up a war inside you. They don't warn you about the quiet pushback, the invisible resistance that rises the moment you decide to change. But I felt it, subtle at first. A little hesitation when I picked up the brush again. A whisper of self-doubt when I spoke with someone I used to admire from afar. A lingering question in my mind. Who do you think you are? It was strange. Just yesterday, I'd felt more aligned than I had in years. I had finally made choices that mirrored the version of me I wanted to become. But today felt heavier, slower, like something inside me was holding the brakes. I had always thought resistance came from the outside, circumstances, people, time. But now, I was discovering the most persistent resistance lives within. It wears many masks: doubt, distraction, fatigue, even logic. And it always shows up at the threshold of transformation. The more I tried to lean into the habits of my chosen self, the more friction I encountered. The artist in me started critiquing every brush stroke. The communicator in me second-guessed every word. The dreamer in me began to shrink under the weight of what if I'm not ready? And that's when I realized something profound. Resistance doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're on the real one. Because growth is uncomfortable. It destabilizes what's familiar. And the mind, it craves familiarity. So when you start shifting toward your parallel self, the one with the courage, the clarity, the voice, you will encounter the parts of you that feel threatened by that shift. Not because they want to sabotage you, but because they've been trained to protect you, even from yourself. I started journaling everything I felt. No edits, no filters. I wrote, I feel like I'm losing who I was and it scares me. But maybe that fear is a doorway. Maybe I'm not losing anything, maybe I'm evolving. The act of writing helped. It always does. It cleared a bit of the fog. But the resistance didn't vanish. It just stepped into the background, quieter but still watching. Later that evening, I decided to go for a walk. I needed to get out of my own head. The streets were quiet, the air crisp. Every step echoed like a question. Will you keep going? I ended up at a small park, one I used to visit often but hadn't seen in months. I sat on a bench beneath a canopy of fading autumn leaves and closed my eyes. And I imagined something that changed everything. I visualized the resistance within me, not as a villain, but as a guardian, a version of me that had held the line for years, that had kept me safe from failure, rejection, embarrassment. That version wasn't evil. It was loyal, but it was tired of protecting a version of me that no longer existed. In that quiet moment, I did something I'd never done before. I thanked it. I thanked the resistance for keeping me safe. I acknowledged the fear without shame. And then I said, gently but firmly, I don't need you to protect me anymore. I'm ready. And in the silence that followed, something shifted. The tightness in my chest loosened. The noise in my head softened. And a new voice emerged. Not loud, but steady. Then let's begin again. You see, resistance isn't your enemy. It's your proof. It's the friction that forms when your old wiring meets your new intention. And if you can recognize it, if you can sit with it instead of fighting it, you can transform it. When I returned home that night, I picked up the sketch pad again. The doubt was still there, but it didn't control me. I sketched anyway. Not to impress, not to perfect, just to continue. And I realized that's what separates the imagined self from the chosen self. Action, repetition, gentle courage. You don't beat resistance with force. You meet it with consistency. Day after day, choice after choice, brushstroke after brushstroke. Even now, as I speak these words, resistance tries to whisper, what if no one listens? What if you're not qualified? What if this is all for nothing? But I've learned to respond. Maybe, but I'm doing it anyway. That anyway is the most powerful word I know. It's where movement begins, where fear loses its grip, where momentum is born. So if you're facing resistance right now, if you've stepped toward a new path and suddenly feel the weight of self-doubt pressing on your chest, don't panic, don't retreat, just breathe and listen. Your resistance isn't here to defeat you. It's here to ask you, do you mean it? If the answer is yes, then say it with your actions. Say it with the art you create, the risks you take, the silence you break. Say it by showing up when it's inconvenient. Say it by continuing when it's uncomfortable. Say it by becoming even when you feel unworthy. Because that's the truth. You're already worthy. The resistance just hasn't caught up yet. Eventually it will. It will quiet down. It will trust you. It will become part of your momentum instead of your barrier. But first, it will test you to see if the version of you you're becoming is real. And your job isn't to prove anything. Your job is simply to persist, to choose, to become, to continue. Not in the absence of resistance, but in the presence of it. That's where the magic lives. In the doing, in the breathing, in the becoming. Even now, I know resistance will visit again. Tomorrow, next week, a month from now. And when it does, I'll greet it not as an enemy, but as a familiar. I'll sit with it. I'll listen. And then I'll say, thank you, but we're moving forward. And we will, together, because I'm not who I was, and I'm not who I will be. I'm who I'm choosing to become, right now. One breath at a time, one step at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this episode spoke to the resistance within you, subscribe to Voidlore Nexus. Let me know in the comments. What is your resistance trying to protect? And what are you becoming in spite of it? Until next time, keep going, even when it's heavy. Especially then.